Book of Heaven, Volume 13. The 20th of June to the 26th of July 1921. Page 7 to 11. June 20, 1921. Simile of the Son and one who lives in the divine will. As I was in my usual state, my always lovable Jesus came, but all majesty and love. He took my right hand in his hand, and drawing near my heart, he kissed it. Then he clasped my head with both hands, keeping them over my head for some time. Who can say what I felt being infused in me? He alone can tell what he was infusing in me. Then he told me, "Daughter of my will, my volition fills you, and in order to keep this will of mine in you, I offer myself as the keeper of my own will. The gift which I placed in you is so great that I do not want to leave it at your mercy, because you would not have sufficient care in order to keep it. Therefore, not only will I be its defense, but I will help you to make it pour outside, in such a way that the mark of my will be seen everywhere." Then he added, "One who lives in my will must be as the center of everything. Look at the sun up there in the heavens. One can see the center of its light, its circle. But the light and the heat it spreads beat and fill the whole earth, becoming life and light of all nature. In the same way, one who lives in my will must live as though circumfused within my own center, which is life of everything. These souls are more than sun, they are also light, heat and fecundity of all goods. Those who do not live completely in my will can be called plants, flowers, trees, which receive light, heat and fecundity from these suns. And living down below, they are subject to grow and to decrease, and are exposed to winds, to frost, to storms. On the other hand, one who lives in my will, like sun, excels over all, triumphs and conquers everything. And while he touches everything and becomes life of everything, he is intangible, nor does he let anyone touch him, because since he lives up high, nobody can reach him. June 28, 1921. The souls who live in the divine will, do whatever God does. True reigning is not to be excluded from anything created by God. I was pouring all of myself into the divine will, and my sweet Jesus told me, "My daughter, the souls who live in my will are the reflection of everyone and of everything. Since they are reflected in everything, as a consequence they receive the reflection of all. And since my will is life of everything, in my will they run to give life to everything. So, even inanimate things and plants receive their reflections, while they receive the reflection of all creation. They harmonize with all things created by me. In my will they give to all. They are friends and sisters with all, and receive love and glory from all. My will renders them inseparable from me, and therefore whatever I do, they do as well. My will does not know how to do things dissimilar from me. The kingdom of my will means, to reign, therefore all of them are queens. But true reigning is not to be excluded from anything created by me." July 14, 1921. Just as the sun forms the life of all nature, the divine will forms the life of the souls. My will was swimming in the eternal volition, and an incomprehensible light made me comprehend and told me, "My daughter, it happens to one who lives in my will as to the earth exposed to the sun. The sun, king of all creation, dwells above all, and the whole of nature seems to be begging the sun for that which forms its life, its beauty, its fecundity. The flower begs the sun for its beauty, its color, its fragrance, and as it blooms and opens out, it opens its mouth to receive from the sun the heat and the light in order to acquire color, fragrance, and to form its life. The plants beg the sun for maturity, sweetness and flavor. All things beg their life from the sun. My will is more than sun. As the soul enters into its burning rays, she receives life, and as she keeps repeating her acts in my volition, she receives now my beauty, now my sweetness and fecundity, now my goodness and sanctity. So, each time she enters the rays of my will, she receives many more divine qualities. Oh, how many different beauties, how much liveliness of colors, how many fragrances she acquires. If these souls could be seen by the other creatures, they would form their paradise on earth, so great is their beauty. They are my reflectors, my true images. July 20, 1921. Simile of water and the divine will. Continuing in my usual state, I was feeling very much embittered, and I said to myself, "Your will alone is left to me. I have nothing else. Everything has disappeared." And my sweet Jesus, moving in my interior, told me, "My daughter, my will is all that must be left to you." It is symbolized by water. While water appears abundant in seas, rivers and wells, it seems as if there is no water on the rest of the earth. Yet, there is not one point of the earth which is not soaked with water. There are no buildings in which water has not been the primary element for their construction. There is no food in which water does not hold its primary place. Otherwise it would be dry food, which man could not even swallow. The strength that water contains is such and so great, that if it had free field to go out of the seashore, it would devastate and terrify the entire earth. My will is more than water. It is true that, in certain points, times and circumstances, it is as though concentrated within most extensive seas, rivers and wells, but there is no thing, from the greatest to the smallest, in which my will does not flow and hold its primary place, even though hidden, just as the water is hidden in the earth, and although not appearing, it is the one that makes plants vegetate and gives life to their roots. However, when my love will make arise the era of my will, the new era of maximum benefit for creatures, then will the seas and rivers of my volition overflow, and as their gigantic waves will rise, they will sweep everything into my will, but no longer hiddenly. Rather, its roaring waves will make themselves seen by everyone and will touch everyone. And those who will want to resist the current, will run the risk of losing their lives. Now, since my will alone has been left to you, you are like water which holds the first place among all goods. And when my volition will flow out of its shores, your will, dissolved within mine, will have its primacy in all things, both in heaven and on earth. What more do you want? July 26, 1921. The divine will is more than life for the soul. My sweet Jesus continues to speak to me about his holy will. My daughter, if the sun is the king of the universe, if with its light it symbolizes my majesty, and with its heat my love and justice, to the point that when it finds earth that does not want to dispose itself to fecundity, it ends up withering it and it renders it sterile with its burning breath. Water can be called queen of the earth, because, symbolizing my will, there is no point into which she does not enter, nor is there creature who can live without her. Maybe one could live without the sun, but nobody can live without water. Water enters into everything, even into the veins and the human bowels, as well as into the profound abysses of the earth. In mute silence, it follows its continuous course. One can say that water is not only queen, but it is like the soul of the earth. Without water the earth would be like a dead body. So is my will, it is not only queen, but more than soul of all created things. It is the life of each heartbeat, of each fiber of the heart. My volition, like water, flows within everything, now remaining silent and hidden, now palpitating and visible. Man can subtract himself from my light, from my love, from my grace, but from my will, never. He would be like one who wanted to live without water. It is true that there may be some crazy one who hates water, but even if he hates it and does not love it, he will be forced to drink it, either water or death. The same for my will, since it is life of everything, creatures will keep it with them either with love or with hatred, but even though against their will, they will be forced to let my will flow in them, like blood in the veins. And those who wanted to subtract themselves from my will would be like the suicides of their own souls. But still, my will would not leave them. It would follow the course of justice over them, since it could not follow for them the course of the goods that my volition contains. If man knew what it means to do or not to do my will, all would tremble with fright at the mere thought of subtracting themselves from my will for one single instant.